Hello there. I thought it was time for another fountain pen review. It's been a while. And the ink that we're going to review this time is Noodler's Dumas Tulipe Noire. Now this ink, as far as I can understand it, now let's set it off to the side. I've been writing with this pen. It's a Sheaffer Touchdown for a while, so I might have to refill during this review, but I'm not sure. I wrote a nice long letter with it last night to my brother, and I've done some writing, some small amount of writing on a couple of different other types of paper for this review. But I believe that this ink was a collaboration between the Fountain Pen Network and the maker of Noodler's inks. I'm sorry that I forget the gentleman's name. But let's go ahead and see how it writes. The ink is Noodler's Dumas Tulipe Noire. The paper, this paper, is Georgia Pacific. £24 laser and inkjet paper. I'm also using composition paper. And basically just one of the cheap journals that you can get from Walmart. Such and such I don't know, this kind of thing. And this is my daily journal, or not daily, but fairly regular. Here, let's take it out of the wrap. This is my personal journal. It's the paper that I tend to write on for that. The pen, well, as I said, is a Sheaffer Touchdown. Has a medium nib. Let's look at the Quick Brown Fox. And my handwriting isn't as good as normal. I have some trembling and stuff going on, sometimes tremors in my hands that causes me issues. Now if you look at this ink, there's not a ton of shading. First of all, it's a beautiful plum type color. Just absolutely lovely. This is probably one of my favorite colors of ink that I've used, and I've used quite a bit. This is lovely. But there is a bit of shading. If you look, you can see it in here. Well, I'm not sure that I would call it shading, but there are spots where the ink is darker and it's lighter, and I would call that shading. But you see a thin line here, but that's has more of effect of that I turn the nib a bit too much. This ink flows really well. I've not experienced any skips or jumps or misses that I could attribute to the actual ink itself, only to my technique or lack thereof. But if you look, you can see that there's a very subtle bit of shading that's going on with this ink. And when you look, the thing is, this is a medium nib. Let me close that so it doesn't dry up. Hold on. But on the journal paper, it almost looks like a fine line. And on the composition notebook, the shading is less, but it's still there. Now, I haven't looked, but let's look. Let's look at bleed through. If I can get this paper turned over. Okay? That is not bad considering this is cheap composition paper. Of course, there's not going to be, I don't believe, any bleed through on the journal. This is a fairly thick, kind of heavy paper. But you see, there's still, the shading, if you look really close, is still quite visible on this paper. When we look at this, let's test dry time. So what we're going to do is just scribble a nice little line there, and we're going to go like that. That's without any time between. It's already drying. So ten seconds, and I don't know if you can see, but just a tiny little bit, and so that's almost dry. Let's see, let's try 15. And it's dry. When you look on the composition notebook, it was absolutely perfectly dry in 10 seconds. So let's test five seconds. Okay, the composition paper is soaking it up really fast. But this ink is quick, fairly quick drying on Tomoe River, which is my preferred paper, and I have not been able to get any more because I have not been able to afford to as of yet. I'm sure that it would dry almost instantaneously. On the journal paper, it dries almost instant. There's just a tiny little bit of a smear that you can barely see. I don't know if the camera will pick it up or not, but so all in all, the ink is lovely. It flows very smoothly and beautifully. There are no skips. Of course, it helps that I have what I consider to be, regardless of cost, a very beautifully writing pen. The Schaefer pens, the old vintage Schaefer pens, are just lovely, particularly their medium nibs, which is what I prefer. And just a lovely ink, a lovely color, a nice bit of character to the line that it puts down. I don't even know if you can still get this ink. I looked on Goulet and could not find it. I probably could go to the Fountain Pen Network and look this up, and there might be some information on where I might be able to acquire it. And I may do that because I really do like this ink. So that is the review, such as it is, and as much as it might, be relevant. And I hope that it helps you. I appreciate you coming along, watching. Wow. I got a piece of, there we go, a piece of paper off probably, and there's still a bit of it in the nib. Probably off of that cheap composition notebook paper. But stuck between the tines and the nibs, that's what did that. So this is the end. Thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you later.